It was in Warwick Castle that I came across the curious stranger I am going to talk about. We fell together, as modest people will, in the tail of the herd that was being shown through, and he at once began to say things which interested me. As he talked along, softly, pleasantly, flowingly, he seemed to drift away imperceptibly out of this world and time, and into some remote era and old forgotten country.
You know about transmigration of souls, huh? Well, have you heard about transposition of epochs and bodies?
Why, no, I haven't.
We have a very ancient hauberk, date of the 6th century, time of King Arthur and the Round Table, said to have belonged to the Knights of Sagramore le Desirous. Observe the round hole through the chainmail in the left breast. Yeah, see, that can't be accounted for. Supposed to have been done with a bullet since invention of firearms. Perhaps maliciously by probable assault.
I saw it done. I did it myself.
By the time I had recovered from the electric surprise of this remark, he was gone. That evening, as I sat by my fire at the Warwick Arms, steeped in a dream of the olden time, while the rain beat upon the windows and the wind roared about the eaves and corners, there was a knock at my door, and the stranger came in. I gave him a pipe and a chair and made him welcome. I also comforted him with a hot Scotch whiskey, gave him another one, then still another, hoping always for his story. After a fourth persuader, he drifted into it himself in a quite simple and natural way.
Well, I'm an American. I was born and raised in Hartford, in the state of Connecticut. So I'm a Yankee of the Yankees. And practical. Yes, and nearly barren of sentiment, too, I suppose. Or poetry, in other words. My father was a blacksmith. My uncle was a horse doctor. And I was both. Well, along at first. Then, I went over to the great arms factory and learned my real trade. Learned all there was to it. Learned to make everything. Guns, revolvers, cannon, boilers, engines, all sorts of labor-saving machinery. Why, I could make anything a body wanted. It didn't make any difference what. And if there wasn't any quick, newfangled way to make a thing, I could invent one. And do it as easy as rolling off a log.
He began to fall asleep, but informed me that his story was preserved in a manuscript, which he took from his coat pocket and handed to me. He then stumbled off to his room, while I sat before the fire to read his account.
Well, I became head superintendent. Had a couple of thousand men under me. A man like that is a man that's full of fight. And with a couple of thousand rough men under me, I had plenty of amusement. One day, I met my match. It was during a misunderstanding conducted with crowbars with a fellow we used to call Hercules. He laid me out with a crusher alongside the head that made everything crack and seemed to spring every joint in my skull and make it overlap its neighbor. When I came to again, I was sitting under an oak tree on the grass with a whole beautiful and broad country landscape all to myself. Nearly. Not entirely, for there was a fella on a horse, looking down at me. A fella fresh out of a picture book. He was in old-time iron armor from head to heel, with a helmet on his head, and a shield, and a sword, and a prodigious spear.
Now, sir, will ye just...
Will I which?
Will ye try a passage of arms for land, or lady, or...
Oh, what are you giving me? Get along back to your circus, or I'll report you. Now, what does this man do but fall back a couple of 100 yards and then come rushing at me as hard as he could tear, his long spear pointed straight ahead. I saw he meant business, so I was up the tree when he arrived. He allowed that I was his property, the captive of his spear. We fixed up an agreement whereby I was to go with him and he was not to hurt me. I came down and we started away, I walking along by the side of his horse. We marched comfortably away through glades and over brooks, which I could not remember to have seen before, which puzzled me and made me wonder. And yet we did not come to any circus or sign of a circus. So I gave up the idea of a circus and concluded he was from an asylum. How far are we from Hartford?
I have never heard of that place.
Well, what's that town in the valley with the fortress on the hills? Bridgeport?
No, Camelot.
Camelot? Camelot? I don't seem to remember hearing of it before. Name of the asylum, likely. Well, as we approached the town, signs of life began to appear. All of the people stared at me, talked about me, ran into the huts and fetched out their families to gape at me. But nobody ever noticed that other fella. That they should be startled at me instead of the other man. There's too many for me. Presently, there was a distant blare of military music, and soon a noble cavalcade wound into view, glorious with plumed helmets and flashing mail and flaunting banners. And through the muck and swine and naked brats and joyous dogs and shabby huts, it took its gallant way, and in its wake we followed. At last, we gained the breezy height where the huge castle stood. The moment I got a chance, I slipped aside privately and touched an ancient, common-looking man on the shoulder. Friend, do me a kindness. Do you belong to the asylum, or are you just here on a visit or something like that?
Very fair, sir. Me,
Oh,
Seamus.
that'll do. I reckon you're a patient. Pardon me. If I could see the head keeper a minute, only just a minute.
Prithee, do not let me.
Let you what?
Do not hinder me, then, if the word please thee better. I'm an undercook and cannot stop to gossip, though I would gladly another time. For it would comfort me very liver to know where such clothes as thine are found. You most speak with yonder idle fellow.
All right. And what are you, young man?
I am a page, sir.
Go along, you're no more than a paragraph.
Prithee, who are you, sir? And tell me about thy strange clothes. I have lived upon this earth since 513, and never have I seen such a costume.
Maybe I didn't hear you just right. Say it again, and say it slow. What year were you born?
513.
513? You don't look it. Come on, boy. I'm a stranger and friendless. Are you in your right mind?
I am, sir.
And this isn't an asylum? I mean, it isn't a place where they cure crazy people?
Oh, no, sir. This is King Arthur's court.
King Arthur's court? And according to your notions, what year is it now?
528, 19th of June.
Oh, I'll never see my friends again. Never again. They won't be born for more than 1,300 years yet. I seemed to believe the boy. I didn't know why. Something in me seemed to believe him. My consciousness, but my reason didn't. But all of a sudden, I stumbled on the very thing just by luck. I knew that the only total eclipse of the sun in the first half of the 6th century occurred on the 21st of June, A.D. 528, and began at 3 minutes after 12 noon. I also knew that no total eclipse of the sun was due in what to me was the present year, 1879. So, if I could keep my anxiety and curiosity from eating the heart out of me for 48 hours, I should then find out for certain whether this boy was telling me the truth or not. Now, Clarence, my boy,
Sir?
if that might happen to be your name, what's the name of that apparition that brought me here?
My master and thine?
Yes.
That is the good knight and great Lord Sir Kay, foster brother to our liege the king.
Very good. Well, go on, tell me everything.
Well, as Sir Kay's prisoner, you'll be flung into a dungeon until thy friends ransom thee.
Oh.
But first, he will exhibit thee before King Arthur and the knights of the Round Table, and tell how he captured thee. He will, no doubt, exaggerate the facts a little, but it would not be wise, nor over-safe to correct him.
Now Sir Kay arose as the page had said he would, and pointing to me, began to address the knights of the Round Table.
To present to you that in a far land of barbarians, I encountered this prodigious giant that I have brought before you. The strange garb that he wears is a work of enchantment and is intended to make him secure from hurt by human hand. I nullified the force of this enchantment by prayer. And then, in a 3-hour battle, I struck down 13 knights of this horrible, sky-towering monster. Oh, yes. I have brought as prisoner this tusked and taloned man-devouring ogre, in order that so strange a curiosity might be exhibited to the wonder and admiration of the king and the court. Thank you. In trying to escape, he sprang into the top of a tree, 200 cubits high, at a single bound. But I dislodged him with a stone the size of a cow. And now I condemn him to die at noon. On the 21st.
A brief dispute sprang up as to how I should be killed, or if indeed I could be killed because of the enchantment in my clothes. Old Merlin the magician swept the difficulty away by suggesting that they strip me. In half a minute, I was as naked as a pair of tongs. I was the only embarrassed person there, however, and everybody discussed me as unconcernedly as if I'd been a cabbage. Queen Guinevere said she'd never seen anybody with legs just like mine before. It was the only compliment I got, if it was a compliment. Finally, I was carried off in one direction and my perilous clothes in another. I was shoved into a dark and narrow cell in a dungeon with some scant remnants for dinner, some moldy straw for a bed, and no end of rats for company. When I next came to myself, I seemed to have been asleep a very long time. What an astonishing dream, I thought. But just then, I heard the harsh music of rusty chains, and a light flashed in my eyes. Clarence stood before me.
Good morning, my lord.
What? You here yet? I'll go along with the rest of the dream. Scatter!
What dream, prithee?
What dream? Why, the dream that I am in Arthur's court, a person who never existed, and that I'm talking to you, and nothing but a work of imagination.
Indeed. And is it a dream that you're to be burnt tomorrow? Answer me that.
Clarence, good boy, don't fail me. Help me to devise some way of escaping from this place.
One may not hope to escape. There are 80 men in arms. And there be other reasons, and weightier.
Other reasons? What are they?
Merlin, in his malice, has woven a spell about this dungeon, and no men in these kingdoms would dare cross its lines with you.
Merlin has wrought a spell? Merlin? That cheap old humbug? Damn Merlin.
Oh, beware. These are awful words. Any moment these walls may crumble upon us if you say such things.
Well, I'll tell you why I laughed. Yes. Now pull yourself together. I laughed because I'm a magician myself.
Thou?
Yeah, I've known Merlin 700 years, and he's always
700?
No, don't interrupt me. Look here, Clarence. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to get word to the king that I'm a magician myself, and the Supreme Grand High Muckamuck. You tell him I'm quietly arranging a little calamity here that'll make the fur fly in these realms if Sir Kay's project is carried out and any harm comes to me.
At once, sir.
Well, the poor boy was in such a state that he could hardly answer me. He left, and in a short time he returned, looking subdued and distressed.
I hasted the message to our liege the king, and straightway he had me to his presence. He was frighted even to the marrow, and was minded to free you and clothe you in fine raiment befitting one so great. But then Merlin came and spoiled all. Scoffing Merlin said, Wherefore hath this magician not named his brave calamity? Verily it is because he cannot. I prithee, sir, delay not. Name the calamity.
No. How long have I been shut up in this hole?
Ye were shut up when yesterday was well spent. It is 9 of the morning now.
9 in the morning now. In this dungeon, it's the very complexion of midnight. This is the 20th, then?
The 20th, yes.
And I'm to be burned alive tomorrow. At what hour?
At high noon.
Now then, I'll tell you what to say. Go back and tell the king that at that hour I will smother the whole world in the dead blackness of midnight. Yes, I'll blot out the sun, and he shall never shine again. The fruits of the earth shall rot for lack of light and warmth, and the peoples of the earth shall famish and die to the last man. The knowledge that I was in deadly danger crept inch by inch through my veins and turned me cold. I said to myself that my eclipse would be sure to save me and make me the greatest man in the kingdom besides. And straightway my mercury went up to the top of the tube. By and by, I heard footsteps coming.
The steak is ready. Come on, come on.
The stake? But this is a mistake. The execution is tomorrow.
I know the order's changed.
Oh.
Been set forward today. Come on, hasty, hasty.
I was lost. There was no help for me. As we stepped into the vast enclosed court of the castle, I got a shock. For the first thing I saw was the stake standing in the center, and near it, the wood ready for the torch. There was not a movement perceptible in those masses of humanity gathered to watch my execution. They were as rigid as stone images and as pale. This hush continued while I was being chained to the stake, and as a man knelt down at my feet with a blazing torch. A monk raised his hands above my head, his eyes toward the blue sky, and began some words in Latin. But suddenly he stopped. He was standing there petrified. With a common impulse, the multitude rose slowly up and stared into the sky. As sure as guns, there was my eclipse beginning. That feather-headed boy had the wrong date.
Fly the torch.
Stay where you are. If any man moves, even the king, before I give him leave, I will blast him with thunder. I will consume him with lightning.
Be merciful, fair sir, and essay no further in this perilous matter, lest disaster follow. Name any terms, reverend sir, even to the halving of my kingdom, but spare the sun.
For a lesson, O king, I will let this darkness proceed and spread night in the world. But whether I blot out the sun for good or restore it shall rest with you. These are my terms. You shall remain king over all your dominions, but you shall appoint me your perpetual minister and executive, and give me for my services 1% of such actual increase of revenue over and above its present amount as I may succeed in creating for the state. Is it satisfactory?
Agreed, agreed. Away with his bonds and set him free. Count him like a prince, for he is the king's right hand. Now, O mighty one, sweep away this creeping night and bring the light and cheer again, that all the world may bless thee.
Well, the eclipse is almost total. The king still stands to the terms?
Yes. Now, command the darkness to depart.
Very well. Let the enchantment dissolve and pass harmless away. There was no response for a moment in that deep darkness and that graveyard hush. But when the silver rim of the sun pushed itself out a moment or two later, the assemblage broke loose with a vast shout and came pouring down like a deluge to smother me with blessings and gratitude. Inasmuch as I was now the second personage in the kingdom, as far as political power and authority were concerned, much was made of me. But despite my grand position, I enjoyed few conveniences, for there weren't any. I mean, the little conveniences that make the real comfort in life. There was no soap, no matches, no looking glass, except a metal one, about as powerful as a pail of water. There was no gas, there were no candles, no books, pens, paper, or ink, and no glass in the openings they believed to be windows. It's a little thing, glass is, until it's absent, and then it becomes a big thing. Well, the multitudes presently began to agitate for another miracle. Then, too, Merlin was making himself busy on the sly, spreading a report that I was a humbug, and that the reason I didn't accommodate the people with a miracle was because I couldn't. I saw that I had to do something. By my authority as executive, I threw Merlin into prison, the same cell I'd occupied myself. And then I gave public notice by herald and trumpet that I should be busy with affairs of state for a fortnight. But about the end of that time, I would take a moment's leisure and blow up Merlin's stone tower by fires from heaven. In the meantime, whoso listened to evil reports about me, let him beware. Furthermore, I would perform this one miracle, and if it failed to satisfy, and any murmured, I would turn the murmurers into horses and make them useful. Quiet ensued.
You called, sir?
Yes, Clarence, my boy. Some miracles require a trifle of preparation, you know.
Preparation, sir?
Yes. And it's sudden death to ever talk about these preparations to anybody. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Well, I want you to see that some stones are dug out on the inside all around Merlin's tower. And I want you to bring me a few things I'll need.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. And I'll not say a word, sir.
Well, I made a few bushels of first-rate blasting powder, and I superintended my armorers while they constructed a lightning rod and some wires. When the stones were removed, we buried the powder in the walls in a dozen places. We could have blown up the Tower of London with these charges. When the 13th night was come, we put up our lightning rod, bedded it in one of the batches of powder, and ran wires from it to the other batches. Now, thunder showers had been tolerably frequent of late, and I wasn't much afraid of a failure. But the next day was a blazing sunny day, almost the first one without a cloud for 3 weeks. I kept secluded and watched the weather. At last, the wind sprang up, and a cloud appeared, in the right quarter, too, and just at nightfall. For a little while, I watched that distant cloud spread and blacken. Then I judged it was time for me to appear. I ordered Merlin liberated and sent to me at the court, where the king and others were assembled and gazing off in the darkness toward Merlin's tower. I could see a great crowd assembled for the show.
We await the miracle, mighty one.
I'm nearly ready. Merlin,
Yeah.
you wanted to burn me alive when I had not done you any harm.
Yeah.
And now you've been trying to injure my professional reputation. Therefore, I am going to call down fire and blow up your tower. But it's only fair to give you a chance. If you think you can break my enchantments and ward off the fires, step to the bat. It's your innings.
I can, fair sir, and I will, doubt it not.
Merlin drew an imaginary circle on the stones and burnt a pinch of powder in it, which sent up a small cloud of aromatic smoke. Everybody fell back and began to cross themselves and get uncomfortable. Then he began to mutter and make passes in the air with his hands. He worked himself up slowly and gradually into a sort of frenzy, and got to thrashing around with his arms like the sails of a windmill. By this time, the storm had reached us, and the lightning began to wink fitfully. Of course, my lightning rod would be loading itself now. You have had time enough, Merlin. I've given you every advantage, and not interfered. It's plain your magic is weak. It's only fair that I begin now. I made about 3 passes in the air, and then there was an awful crash, and that old tower leaped into the sky in chunks, along with a vast volcanic fountain of fire that turned night to noonday and showed 1,000 acres of human beings groveling on the ground in a general collapse of consternation. Well, it rained mortar and masonry the rest of the week. There were a good many thousand tracks in the mud the next morning, but they were all outward bound. If I'd advertised another miracle, I couldn't have raised an audience with a sheriff. Well, the tower episode solidified my power and made it impregnable. There was not anyone in the kingdom who would have considered it good judgment to meddle with my matters. I was rapidly adjusting to my situation, and at last I was fully able to realize that I was actually living in the 6th century and in Arthur's court, not a lunatic asylum. I wouldn't have traded it for the 20th. Look at the opportunities here for a man of knowledge and brains, pluck, and enterprise to sail in and grow up with the country. The grandest field that ever was, and all my own. Not a competitor, not a man who wasn't a baby to me in acquirements and capacities. Whereas, what would I amount to in the 20th century? I was no shadow of a king. I was the substance. The king himself was the shadow. My power was colossal. I was admired and feared. But it was as an animal is admired and feared. I was not respected. I had no pedigree, no inherited title. And these people had inherited the idea that all men without title and a long pedigree, whether they had great natural gifts and acquirements or not, were creatures of no more consideration than so many animals, bugs, insects. But I didn't ask for a title, and I declined it when it was offered. I couldn't enjoy such a thing with my notions. It's enough to make a body ashamed of his race to think of the sort of froth that has always occupied its thrones without shadow of right or reason, and the seventh-rate people that have always figured as its aristocracies. But I hoped to win a title from the nation itself, the only legitimate source, and I did win it, and did wear it with a high and clean pride. This title fell casually from the lips of a blacksmith one day in a village, and was caught up as a happy thought and tossed from mouth to mouth. In 10 days it had swept the kingdom, and was become as familiar as the king's name. This title, translated into modern speech, would be the boss. Elected by the nation. Well, that suited me, and it was a pretty high title. There were very few thes, and I was one of them. The boss. The very first official thing I did in my administration was to start a patent office. For I knew that a country without a patent office and good patent laws was just a crab and couldn't travel any way but sideways or backward. So the first thing you want in a new country is a patent office. Then work up your school system, and after that, out with your newspaper. years rolled by, and my schools and institutions were growing up. My shops grew into vast factories. Where I had a dozen trained men, I now had 1,000. Where I had one brilliant expert, I now had 50. One of my deepest secrets was my West Point, my military academy. I kept that most jealously out of sight. Well, one day, I struck an interruption. There never was such a country for wandering liars, and they were of both sexes. One day, when I was not around, a young woman came along and told a tale of the usual pattern. Her mistress was a captive in a vast and gloomy castle, along with 44 other young and beautiful girls, pretty much all of them princesses. They had been languishing in that cruel captivity for 26 years. The masters of the castle were 3 stupendous brothers, each with 4 arms and 1 eye. The eye in the center of the forehead and as big as a fruit. Sort of fruit not mentioned. Their usual slovenliness in statistics. Would you believe it? The king and the whole round table were in raptures over this preposterous opportunity for adventure. Every knight of the round table jumped for the chance and begged for it. But to their vexation and chagrin, the king conferred it upon me, who hadn't asked for it at all. Well, I sent for the girl, and she came.
Yes, my lord?
My dear, have you been questioned as to particulars?
Oh, no, my lord.
Well, I didn't expect you had. You mustn't take it unkindly if I remind you that, as we don't know you, we must go a little slow. You may be all right, of course. I hope you are, but to take it for granted isn't business. You understand that. Now, where do you live?
In the land of Modder, fair sir.
Land of Modder? I don't remember hearing of it before. Parents living?
As to that, I know not, since it is many years that I have lain shut up in the castle.
Your name, please.
Demoiselle Alessandre La Cataloise, if it please you.
Sandy. Well, Sandy, do you know anybody who can identify you?
That were not likely, fair lord, I being come hither now for the first time.
Have you brought any letters, any documents, any proofs that you're trustworthy and truthful?
Of a surety, no. And wherefore should I? Have I not tongue, and cannot I say all that myself?
Yeah, but you're saying it, you know, and somebody else is saying it's different.
Different? How might that be? I fear me I do not understand.
Don't understand? Well, can't you understand a little thing like that? No, let's change the subject. Now, as to this castle, with, 45 princesses in it, and 3 ogres at the head of it? Tell me, where is this harem?
Harem?
The castle. Where's the castle?
Oh, as to that, it is great and strong, and well beseen, and lieth in a far country. It is many leagues.
How many?
Fair sir, it were hard to tell, there are so many, and do so lap the one upon the other, and being made all in the same image, and of the same colour, one may not know the one league from its fellow, nor how to count them, except they be taken apart.
Hold on, never mind about the distance. Whereabouts does this castle lie? What is the direction from here?
Please you, sir, it hath no direction from here, by reason that the road lieth not straight, but turneth evermore. Wherefore the direction of its place abideth not, but is sometime under the one sky, and anon under another. Whereso, if ye be minded, that it is.
Oh, give us a rest. Hang the direction. Run along, dear. Good day. Clarence, show Sandy the way out, will you? Well, Clarence informed me that I didn't need to know the direction or require a map, since the girl would go with me. My expedition was all the talk that day and that night. Everybody, it seems, was anxious for me to hive those ogres and set those ripe old virgins loose. The next morning, after considerable effort, I was packed up in my armor. It was no time to dance. Why, a man that's packed away like that is a nut that isn't worth the cracking. There's so little of the meat by comparison with the shell. They carried me out and helped me on my horse and fixed my feet in the stirrups. Then they stood up the mast they called my spear in its socket by my left foot and hung my shield around my neck. The damsel got up behind me and we were off. Everybody waved their handkerchiefs or helmets and were respectful to us, except some shabby boys on the outskirts of the village that hove clods at us. I wanted to get down and settle with them, but I couldn't have got up again. I hate a country without a derrick. We traveled on and got hotter and hotter and hungrier and hungrier. For some reason, a man in armor always trusted to chance for his food on a journey and would have been scandalized at the idea of hanging a basket of sandwiches on his spear. As we were crossing a vast meadow by way of a shortcut, I was musing absently, hearing nothing, seeing nothing, thinking about a nice roast beef dinner with all the trimmings.
Defend thee, Lord!
No, what? Where?
Peril of life!
Oh, she slipped off the horse and ran a little way and stood. I looked up and saw, far off in the shade of a tree, half a dozen armed knights and their squires. I had discovered that my pipe convinced these poor superstitious people that I was one of those fire-belching dragons they'd heard so much about from knights and other professional liars. So I lit up at once, and by the time I'd got a good head of reserved steam on, here they came. All together, too. None of that one courtly rascal at a time, with the rest standing by to see fair play. No. They came in a body. They came with a whir and a rush. They came like a volley from a battery, with heads low down, plumes streaming out behind, lances advanced at a level. It was a handsome sight, a beautiful sight, for a man up a tree. I laid my lance in rest and waited, with my heart beating, till the iron wave was just ready to break over me. Then spouted a column of white smoke through the bars of my helmet. You should have seen the wave go to pieces and scatter. 200 or 300 yards away, they stopped. I judged I was a lost man.
Thy enchantments have disabled the knights.
Well, we must hurry away, child, before they attack again.
Lack a day, sir. They be not of that breed.
What?
Sir Lancelot will give battle to dragons, and will abide by them, and will assail them again, and yet again, and still again, until he do conquer and destroy them. As to yonder base rufflers, think ye they have not their fill?
Well, then, what are they waiting for? Why don't they leave?
They wait to yield themselves to you, fair lord.
Well, if they want to, why don't they?
If ye wot how dragons are esteemed, ye would not hold them blamable. They fear to come.
Well, then, suppose I go to them instead.
They would not abide your coming
What?
for fear of thee. I will go.
And she did. She was a handy person to have along on a raid. I presently saw the knights riding away and Sandy coming back.
When I told them you were the boss, it smote them sore with fear and dread.
And so they've hightailed it home, have they?
Oh, no, my lord.
No?
I swore them to appear at Arthur's court within 2 days and yield them horse and harness and be thy knights henceforth.
And so I'm proprietor of some knights, eh? Oh, I shan't know what to do with them unless I raffle them off. How many of them are there, Sandy?
7, please you, sir, and their squire.
Well, that's a good haul. Who are they? Tell me about them.
I will, and lightly will begin.
Okay.
So they 2 departed and rode into a great forest, and...
Great Scott, I set her story works a-going.
So they 2 departed and rode into a great forest.
Hold it, Sandy. Which 2?
Sir Gawain and Sir Uwaine.
Oh.
And then were they ware of Sir Maris riding on a great horse straight toward them. Then one of the knights dressed his shield and said, Sir Maris, defend thee. And so they ran together that the knight brake his spear on Maris, and Sir Maris smote him so hard that he brake his neck and the horse's back back.
Well, that's just the trouble with this state of things. It ruins so many horses.
That saw the other knight of the turret and dressed him toward Maros, and they went so eagerly together that the knight of the turret was soon smited down, horse and man, stark dead.
Another horse gone.
So these other two knights came together with great random, that Sir Uwaine smote Sir Maros, that his spear braced in pieces on the shield, and Sir Maros smote him so sore that horse and man he bare to the earth, and hurt Sir Uwaine on the left side.
The truth is, Sandy, the fights are all alike. There's not enough detail. They come together with great random, and the spear is braced, and one party break his shield, and the other goes down, horse and man, over his horsetail and break his neck. And then the next candidate comes randoming in and braced his spear, and the other man braced his shield, and down he goes, horse and man, and break his neck. Why, you can't tell one fight from another.
Then Sir Maros turned his horse and rode towards Gawaine with his spear. And when Sir Gawaine saw that, he dressed his shield, and they came together with all the might of their horses, that either knight smote other so hard in the midst of their shields, but Sir Gawaine's spear brake.
I knew it would.
But Sir Maros' spear held, and therewith Sir Gawaine and his horse rushed down to the earth.
And break his back.
And lightly Sir Gawaine rose upon his feet and pulled out his sword and dressed him towards Sir Maros.
I dozed off and lost the thread of her story, which never did explain who the knights were that I had vanquished. Finally, we approached a castle which stood on high ground. It was the largest castle we'd seen, so I thought it might be the one we were after, but Sandy said no. We soon learned that it was the abode of Morgan Le Fay, sister of King Arthur and wife of King Uriens, monarch of a realm about as big as the District of Columbia. You could stand in the middle of it and throw bricks into the next kingdom. Kings and kingdoms were as thick in Britain as they had been in Little Palestine in Joshua's time, when people had to sleep with their knees pulled up because they couldn't stretch out without a passport. I knew about Mrs. Le Fay by reputation and was not expecting anything pleasant. She was held in awe by the whole realm, for she'd made everybody believe she was a great sorceress, and she was loaded to the eyelids with cold malice. All her history was black with crime, and among her crimes, murder was common. We were welcomed and even invited to attend a banquet that evening. Morgan Le Fay rippled along musically, and I felt persuaded that this woman must have been misrepresented and lied about. But when I let drop a complimentary word about King Arthur, forgetting for the moment that this woman hated her brother, she clouded up like a storm.
Guards, hail me these varlets to the dungeon.
Oh, no.
God's wounds! Dost thou covet destruction, thou maniac? It is the boss. Listen to thy handmaid. I did but play this little jest with hope to surprise you into some display of your art, blasting the guards with occult fires, consuming them to ashes on the spot, a marvel much beyond mine own ability, yet one which I have long been childishly curious to see.
The guards were less curious and got out as soon as they got permission. The Queen became very friendly, to me at least, and we all enjoyed the feasting and the entertainment. The music was a fine show, but it was new and ought to have been rehearsed a little more. For some reason or other, the Queen ordered the composer hanged after dinner. The poor Queen was so scared and humbled that she decided to consult me before carrying out her executions. I was willing to do anything that was reasonable and had no desire to carry things to wanton extremities. I therefore considered the matter thoughtfully and ended by having the musicians ordered into our presence to play their piece again. Then I saw that the Queen was right and gave her permission to hang the whole band. At last, As part of the entertainment, the Queen decided to give me a guided tour of the dungeons. Conducted by mailed guards bearing flaring torches, we tramped along echoing corridors and down stone stairways dank and dripping, and smelling of mold and ages of imprisoned night. What is it?
It is truly a stubborn soul, and endureth long. It is many hours now.
Endureth what?
The rat. Come,
the rat.
ye shall see a blight sight. If he yield not his secret now, ye shall see him torn asunder.
And what horrible thing has the man done?
He is accused by an anonymous informer of having killed a deer in the royal preserves.
Oh, anonymous testimony isn't just the right thing, Your Highness. It were fairer to confront the accused with his accuser.
I had not thought of that, it being but of small consequence. But if I would, I could not, for the man came masked by night and told the forester.
Then is this unknown the only person who saw the deer killed?
Marry, no. No man saw the killing, but this unknown saw this hardy wretch near to the spot.
So the unknown was near the dead stag, too. Isn't it just possible that he did the killing himself? But why rack the prisoner? Where's the prophet?
He will not confess else, and then were his soul lost.
But, Your Highness, suppose he has nothing to confess.
As to that, we shall see anon. If I rack him to death, and he confess not, it will peradventure show that he had indeed naught to confess. Then shall I not be damned for an unconfessed man that had nothing to confess.
Executioner! Let that poor fellow go!
Ye will do in all things as the Lord shall command. It is the boss.
Let me speak to the prisoner quietly. Who's this woman here? Your wife? And is that your child?
Yes, my lord.
Well, go ahead. Give him something to drink. Now, my friend, tell me your side of this matter. I know the other side.
No, my lord.
Ah, fair sir, do thou persuade him, thou canst and thou wilt. Oh, he suffereth so, and it is for me. How can I bear it?
Peace, you know not what you ask, woman. Shall I starve whom I love?
No, I can't quite make this out. It's a puzzle. You're not going to die. You're free. You have my promise and the king's word. I don't quite see. You stood the torture and refused to confess, which shows plain enough to even the dullest understanding that you had nothing to confess.
Aye, my lord. How so? It was I who killed the deer.
You did? And this is the most mixed-up business that I ever...
Dear Lord, I begged him on my knees to confess.
You did? Wait, it gets thicker and thicker. What did you want him to do that for?
Since it would bring him a quick death and save all this cruel pain.
Well, yes, there's reason in that. But he didn't want the quick death.
He? Why, of a surety he did.
Well, then why in the world didn't he confess?
Ah, sweet sir. And leave my wife and chick without bread and shelter?
Oh, heart of gold, now I see it. The bitter law takes this convicted man's estate and beggars his widow and his orphans. They could torture you to death, but without conviction or confession, they could not rob your wife and baby. You stood by them like a man, and you, true wife and true woman that you are, you would have bought him release from torture at cost to yourself of slow starvation and death. Sandy and I were on the road again next morning, bright and early. After 2 days, Sandy began to show signs of excitement, so I knew we were approaching the ogre's castle. Presently, Sandy slid from the horse and motioned me to stop. We crept toward a row of bushes, my heart thumping, stronger and quicker.
Oh, the castle! The castle! No, where it looms.
castle. That's nothing but a pigsty. A pigsty with a wattled fence around it.
It was not enchanted aforetime.
Oh.
And how strange is this marvel, and how awful that to your perception it is enchanted and adorned in a base and shameful aspect. Yet to my perception it is not enchanted, but stands firm and stately still, with its moat and waving its banners in the blue air from its towers.
Well, this is a common case. The enchanting of a thing to one eye and leaving it in its proper form to another. Well, by good luck, no one's eyes but mine are under the enchantment. As long as I know that a hog is a lady, that's enough for me. I know how to treat her.
Oh, thank you, my sweet lord. And I know that thou wilt deliver them.
I will not leave a princess in the sty, Sandy. Are those three yonder that, to my disordered eyes, are starveling swineherds?
The ogres?
Uh-huh.
Are they changed also? It is most wonderful. Now am I fearful. For how canst thou strike with sure aim when 5 of their 9 cubits of stature are to thee invisible?
Don't you be afraid. All I need to know is how much of an ogre is invisible, and then I know how to locate his vitals.
Oh, go warily, fair sir.
Poor girl. It'd be wasting time to try and argue her out of her delusion. That couldn't be done. So I just rode down to the pigsty and struck up a trade with the swineherds. I sent the 3 men away and then opened the sty gate and beckoned Sandy to come, which she did. And when I saw her fling herself upon those hogs, with tears of joy running down her cheeks, and strain them to her heart, and kiss them, and call them reverently by grand, princely names, oh, I was ashamed of her, ashamed of the human race. Well, after I'd freed all of the prince's hogs, I was ready to return to Camelot. No doubt Sandy would take care of the nobility. Now that our enterprise is handsomely and successfully ended, Sandy, I'll go home and report.
I also am ready. I will go with thee.
What, you'll go with me? Why should you?
Will I be traitor to my knight, dost think? I may not part from thee until in knightly encounter in the field some champion shall fairly win me.
Well, I may as well make the best of it. All right, let's make a start. While she was gone to cry her farewells over the pork, I gave the whole peerage away to some poor farmer. The first thing we struck on our journey was a procession of pilgrims. They were headed for the Valley of Holiness to drink of some miraculous waters and be cleansed from sin, so we decided to join them. Where is this watering place, Sandy?
It lieth a 2-day journey hence, by the borders of the land that is called the Cuckoo Kingdom.
Tell me about it. Is it a celebrated place?
Oh, of a truth, yes. Of old time, there lived there an abbot and his monks. None in the world were more holy than these, for they gave themselves to study of pious books, and spoke not the one to the other, and slept hard, and prayed much, and washed never. They wore the same garment until it fell from their bodies through age and decay. Right so they came to be known of all the world by reason of these holy austerities, and visited by rich and poor.
Proceed.
But always there was lack of water there, whereas, upon a time, the holy abbot prayed, and for answer a great stream of clear water burst forth by miracle in a desert place.
Ah, so they could afford a bath now and then.
Oh, fair sir, these monks forsook the ways of purity, and built a bath, and did enter into the water, and came thence washed as white as snow. But in that moment, in miraculous rebuke, the water ceased to flow, and utterly vanished away.
Well, go on, Sandy.
So the abbot destroyed the bath, and the waters gushed richly forth again. And even unto this day, they have not ceased to flow in that generous measure.
Then I take it nobody's washed since.
Even from that very day. The fame of the miracle went abroad into all lands. From every land came monks to join, and nuns came also.
You spoke of some hermits, Sandy.
These have gathered there from the ends of the earth. A hermit thriveth best where there be multitudes of pilgrims. There is no sort of hermit lacking in the Valley of Holiness.
Another procession of pilgrims appeared, but there was not a face among all these people, old and young, but was cast down and bore that set expression of hopelessness and despair. They were slaves. Chains led from their fettered feet and their manacled hands to a sole-leather belt about their waist. And all, except the children, were also linked together in a file 6 feet apart by a single chain which led from collar to collar all down the line. Suddenly, one of the young mothers, a girl of, perhaps 15, stumbled with fatigue. The slave trader carried a heavy lash divided into several knotted tails at the end. When the girl reeled, down came the lash on her naked shoulders. He snatched the child from her, and then made the men slaves who were chained before and behind her throw her on the ground and hold her there and expose her body. Then he laid on with his lash like a madman till her back was flayed, she shrieking and struggling the while piteously. One of the men who was holding her turned away his face, and for this humanity he was flogged.
Look how he handles that lash. He's very expert.
I don't see how he can repeatedly whip these slaves. It would wear a body out. And yet he hardly seems tired.
If I lived and prospered, I resolved to end slavery. But I would try to fix it so that its end should be by command of the nation. Just then, a landed proprietor arrived who had bought this girl. The moment the girl was delivered from her irons, she flung herself, all tears and frantic sobbings, into the arms of the slave who had turned away his face when she was whipped. Yes, it was husband and wife. They had to be torn apart by force. The girl had to be dragged away, and she struggled and fought and shrieked like one gone mad, till a turn of the road hid her from sight. Before long, a knight came riding toward us, and I recognized him for a knight of mine, Sir Hosanna le Cure Hardy. He was one of the knights I'd put into useful service, his missionarying specialty being hats. He was clothed all in steel, in the beautifulest armor of the time, up to where his helmet ought to have been. He hadn't any helmet, but wore a shiny stovepipe hat, and was as ridiculous a spectacle as one might want to see. Sir Hosanna, how is trade?
Ye will note that I have but these 4 hats left, yet they were 16 when I got me from Camelot.
Why, you've certainly done nobly, Sir Hosanna. Where have you been foraging of late?
I am but now come from the Valley of Holiness, please you, sir.
Ah, I'm pointed for that place myself. Is there anything stirring in the monkery more than common?
Sir, it is parlous news I bring, and be these pilgrims. Then ye may not do better, good folk, than gather and hear the tale I have to tell, since ye go to find that ye will not find, and seek that ye will seek in vain. The miraculous fount has ceased to flow. Ye say well, good people. I was verging to it, even when ye spake.
Has somebody been washing again?
Nay, it is suspected, but none believe it. It is thought to be some other sin, but none wit what.
How are they feeling about the calamity?
None may describe it in words. The fount is these 9 days dry. The prayers that did begin then have ceased not night nor day. Now do they hand up prayers writ upon parchment, since there is no strength left in man to lift up voice. And at last they sent for thee, Sir Boss, to try magic. and enchantment. And if you could not come, then was the messenger to fetch Merlin, and he is there these 3 days.
Well now, Sir Hosanna, you get to Camelot as fast as you can fly, and show this note to Clarence, and tell him to have these things sent to the Valley of Holiness with all possible dispatch.
I will, sir.
The following evening, we reached the monastery before dark, and I was met by the old abbot.
Delay not, son, but get to thy saving work, and see thou do it with enchantments that be holy. For the church will not endure that work in her cause be done by devil's magic.
When I work, Father, be sure there'll be no devil's work connected with it. I shall use no arts that come of the devil, and no elements not created by the hand of God. But is Merlin working on this miracle?
Yes, but surely you will not sit idle by, but help.
No, it won't answer to mixed methods, Father. Neither would it be professional courtesy. You see, Merlin has the contract, and no other magician can touch it till he throws it up.
There are ways to persuade him to abandon.
No, Father. He may load the well with a malicious enchantment, which would block me for a month.
A month? Well, have it thy way, my son, but my heart is heavy with this disappointment.
The next morning, I went to the well. Merlin was there, enchanting away like a beaver, but not raising the moisture. The fountain was an ordinary well. It was in a dark chamber, which stood in the center of a cut stone chapel. The water was drawn with a windlass and chain by monks, and poured into troughs, which delivered it into stone reservoirs outside. I had an idea that the well had sprung a leak, that some of the wall stones near the bottom had fallen and allowed the water to escape. So I measured the chain, 98 feet, then called a couple of monks, locked the door, took a candle, and made them lower me in the bucket. Well, my suspicion was confirmed. A considerable section of the wall was gone, exposing a good big fissure and letting all the water run out. When I was above ground again, I turned out the monks and let down a fish line. The well was 150 feet deep, and there was 41 feet of water in it. I called one of the monks in.
Yes, Sir Boss.
How deep is the well?
That, sir, I wit not, having never been told.
How does the water usually stand in it?
Near to the top, these 2 centuries.
Well, it's a difficult miracle to restore water in a dry well. And it'll tax the occult powers to the last strain, but we'll try, if my brother Merlin fails.
None knoweth the truth better than the Brotherhood, for it is of record that aforetime it was perilous difficult, and took a year to restore the well. God send you good success, and to that end will we pray.
As a matter of business, it was a good idea to get the notion around that the thing was difficult. Many a small thing has been made large by the right kind of advertising. On Saturday, Merlin put on his best show and raised enough smoke to darken the whole region. At the end of 20 minutes, he dropped down panting and about exhausted. Now arrived the abbot and several hundred monks and nuns, and behind them a couple of acres of pilgrims, all drawn by the prodigious smoke.
If any labor of mortal might break the spell that binds these waters, this which I have but just essayed has done it.
But there is still not water.
The most potent spirit known to the magicians of the East, and whose name none may utter and live, has laid his spell upon this well. The mortal does not breathe, nor ever will, who can penetrate the secret of that spell. The water will flow no more forever, good father. I have done what man could. Suffer me to go.
Ye have heard him. Is it true?
Yeah, part of it is.
Not all, then. Not all.
No.
What part is true?
That a spirit with a Russian name has put his spell upon the well.
God's wounds. then we are ruined.
Possibly.
Oh, but not certainly. Not certainly. You mean not certainly?
No, there are conditions under which an effort to break the spell may have some chance. Some trifling chance of success.
The condition?
Only these. I want the well and the surroundings for the space of half a mile entirely to myself, from sunset today until I remove the ban. And nobody allowed to cross the ground but by my authority.
Are these all? And you have no fear to try?
Oh, one may fail, of course, and one may also succeed.
Wait, ye know that he who would break this spell must know that spirit's name.
Yes, I know his name.
Ah, and know ye also that to know it and to utter that name is death?
Yes, I know that, but I would utter it if it was Welsh.
Yeah, ye are even a dead man, then. I go to tell Arthur.
Take your gripsack and get along. The thing for you to do is to get home and work the weather, John W. Merlin. That made him wince, for he was the worst weather failure in the kingdom. But instead of starting home to report my death, he said he would remain and enjoy it. Well, my two experts I had sent for arrived that evening. They brought everything I needed: tools, pump, lead pipe, powder, rockets, Roman candles, colored fire sprays, and electric apparatus. Everything necessary for the stateliest kind of miracle. After supper, we took possession of the well and its surroundings. An hour before sunrise, we had that leak mended in shipshape fashion, and the water began to rise. Then we stowed our fireworks in the chapel, locked up the place, and went home to bed. In 9 hours, the water had risen to its customary level, about 20 feet from the top. We put in a little iron pump that I'd had made. Then we bored into a stone reservoir which stood outside the well chamber and inserted a section of lead pipe. I wanted the gushing water to be visible to the 250 acres of people who'd be watching. We set up a stunning array of fireworks, and then, about 200 yards off, in the flat, we built a platform covered with tapestries borrowed for the occasion, and topped off with the abbot's own throne. You can't throw too much style into a miracle. It costs trouble and work and sometimes money, but it pays in the end. Well, we connected the wires to the chapel from the platform and hid the batteries. Then we roped off the whole area to keep off the multitude and let out the word that the performance would begin at 11:25 sharp. Then we went home to supper. I was at the platform and all ready to do the honors when the abbot's solemn procession hove in sight. With it came Merlin and took a front seat on the platform. The abbot sat on his throne, which was the best seat in the place. When the bell stopped, the masses broke and poured in like a black wave. And you could have walked upon a pavement of human heads to 12 miles. We had a solemn stage wait for about 20 minutes, a thing I had counted on for effect. It's always good to let your audience have a chance to work up its expectancy. Well, I stood up on the platform and extended my hands abroad for 2 minutes with my face uplifted. That always produces a dead hush. And then slowly pronounced, Konstantino Politanischer Dudelsack's Pfeifennascher Gesellschaft. Just as I was moaning out the closing hunks of that word, I touched off one of my electric connections, and all that murky world of people stood revealed in a hideous blue glare. Merlin was astonished clear down to his corns. I lifted my hands and groaned out this word as if it were in agony. Nihilisten namet theater nasten Sprechungen satens as versuchen. Then I turned on the red fire. You should have heard that Atlantic of people moan and howl when that crimson hell joined the blue. After 60 seconds, I shouted,
Transvaal truppen troppen transport trampelt hier triber angst tren tragedy.
Then I lit the green fire. After waiting only 40 seconds, I spread my arms abroad and thundered out the devastating syllables,
Mecca Muselmannen Massen Menschen Nören Muttern Narden Monumenten Narer.
Then I whirled on the purple glare. Soon they were all going at once. Red, blue, green, purple. I knew the boys were at the pump now and ready, so I said to the abbot, "The time has come, Father. I'm about to pronounce the dread name and command the spell to dissolve."
Proceed, my son.
Behold, in another minute, the spell will be broken, or no mortal can break it. If it break, all will know it, for you will see the sacred water gush from the chapel. I command the fell spirit that possesses the holy fountain to now disgorge into the skies all the infernal fires that still remain in him, and straightway dissolve his spell and flee hence to the pit, there to lie bound 1,000 years. By his own dread name I command it, Nazdravyaboizdemoy!
Then I touched off the rockets, and a vast fountain of dazzling lances of fire vomited itself toward the sky with a hissing rush and burst into a storm of flashing jewels. There, in the uncanny glare, they saw the water leaping forth. The old abbot could not speak a word for tears and the chokings in his throat. You should have seen those acres of people throw themselves down in that water. Well, Merlin, he'd caved in and gone down like a landslide when I pronounced that fearful name. He never heard that name before. Neither had I. But to him, it was the right one. Any jumble would have been the right one. He never could understand how I survived it, and I didn't tell him. Later, I took along a night shift of monks and taught them the mystery of the pump and set them to work. It was a great night, an immense night. There was reputation in it. I could hardly get to sleep for glorying over it. One morning, I went out on a long walk, which took me to the northern extremity of the valley. There I found a hermitage, which had often been pointed out to me from a distance as the den of a hermit of high renown for dirt and austerity. I thought I'd look in and see how the atmosphere of this den agreed with its reputation. My surprise was great. The place was newly swept and scoured. Then there was another surprise. Back in the gloom of the cavern, I heard the clink of a little bell, and then...
Hello, Central. Is this you, Camelot? Behold, thou mayest glad thy heart, for here standeth in the flesh his mightiness the boss, and with thine own ears shall ye hear him speak.
Why, Orpheus! How long has this telephone office been here?
Oh, but since midnight, fair Sir Boss. We saw many lights in the valley, and so judged it well to make a station.
Quite right, but do you know where you are?
Oh, of that I've had no time to make inquiry.
Well, this is the Valley of Holiness. Huh? Haven't you heard of the wonders done here of late?
Oh, ye will remember we move by night and avoid speech with all, as you instructed. We learn naught but that we get by the telephone from Camelot.
Why, they know all about this thing. Haven't they told you anything about the great miracle of the restoration of a holy fountain?
That?
Yes.
Well, that was done in the Valley of Hellishness.
Oh, confound a telephone anyway. Well, you know the name of the place now. Call up Camelot.
Hello? This is Clarence.
Ah, Clarence, what's new?
The king and queen and many of the court do start even in this hour to go to your valley to pay pious homage to the waters ye have restored.
When will they arrive here?
Mid-afternoon, or later the third day.
Well, you hold down the fort till I get back. I'll look after the royalty.
All right, boss.
When I got back to the monastery, I found a thing of interest going on. The abbot and his monks were assembled in the great hall, observing with childish wonder and faith the performance of a new magician, a fresh arrival. His specialty was to tell what any individual on the face of the globe was doing at the moment, and what he had done at any time in the past, and what he would do at any time in the future.
Would any like to know what the Emperor of the East was doing right now?
Tell us. Oh, yes.
The high and mighty Emperor of the East doth at this moment put money in the hands of a holy begging friar. 1, 2, 3 pieces, and they be all of silver.
It is marvelous.
Wonderful.
What study, what labor to have acquired such amazing power as this.
Would you like to know what the Supreme Lord of Indy was doing?
Oh, yes.
Yes, tell us.
Supreme Lord of Indy.
The Supreme Lord of Indy rides in a procession upon a large white elephant, whose tusks are all of gold, and whose trappings are woven silver, bedecked with emeralds.
If I might ask, I should very greatly like to know what a certain person is doing.
Speak, and freely I will tell you.
It'll be difficult, perhaps impossible.
The more difficult it is, the more certainly will I reveal it to you.
If you make no mistake, if you tell me truly what I want to know, I'll give you 200 silver pennies.
The fortune is mine. I will tell you what you want to know.
Then tell me what I am doing with my right hand. Come on. Come on, what are you waiting for? Is it possible you can answer up right off and tell what anybody on the other side of the earth is doing, and yet can't tell what a person's doing who isn't 3 yards from you? Persons behind me know what I'm doing with my right hand. They'll endorse you if you tell correctly. All right. Very well, I'll tell you why you don't speak up and tell. It's because you don't know. You a magician? Good friends, this tramp is a mere fraud and liar.
It hath struck me speechless, the frivolity of this person's speech. Had he asked me what Arthur, the great king, is doing, it were another matter. And I had told ye, but the doings of a subject interest me not.
Oh, I misunderstood you. I thought you said anybody. And so I supposed anybody included, well, anybody.
It doth. Anybody that is of lofty birth, and the better if he be royal.
That might well be, for it were not likely that so wonderful a gift as this would be conferred for the revelation of the concerns of lesser beings than such as be born near to the summits of greatness. Our Arthur, the king...
Would you know of him?
Most gladly, yea, and gratefully.
The king is weary with the chase, and lieth in his palace these 2 hours, sleeping a dreamless sleep.
God's benison upon him. Yes. May that sleep be to the refreshment of his body and his soul.
And so it might be, if he were sleeping. But the king is not sleeping. The king rides.
I have seen many wonderful soothsayers and prophets and magicians in my life days, but none before that could sit idle and see to the heart of things with never an incantation to help.
And what of the queen and the court?
Yes.
What do they?
They be all on sleep, being overcome by fatigue, like as to the king.
That's merely another lie. Half of them are about their amusements. The queen and the other half are not sleeping. They ride.
Ride.
Yeah. Perhaps, old fella, you can tell us where the king and queen are going.
They sleep now, as I said.
Oh.
But on the morrow they will ride, for they go on a journey toward the sea.
And where will they be the day after tomorrow at Vespers?
Far to the north of Camelot, and half their journey will be done.
No, that's another lie, by the space of 150 miles. Their journey will not be merely half done, it'll be all done. And they will be here, in this valley. Yeah, that's true. If the king does not arrive, I will have myself ridden on a rail. If he does, I'll ride you on a rail instead. Next day, I went to the telephone office and checked on the king's progress. The following day, I learned that he would arrive by 4 in the afternoon. There was still no sign of interest in his coming, and that fraud of a magician had convinced everyone that the court had concluded to make no journey at all, but stay at home. Well, about 2 o'clock, I went down and drummed up a procession of pilgrims and smoked out a batch of hermits and started them out to meet the king. Then, just before 4 o'clock, I brought the abbot out on a balcony and showed him the king marching in and never a monk on hand to offer him welcome, and no stir of life or clang of joy bell to glad his spirits. He took one look and then flew to rouse out his forces. The next minute, the bells were dinning furiously, and the various buildings were vomiting monks and nuns who went swarming in a rush toward the coming procession. And with them went that magician. And he was on a rail, too, by the abbot's order. His reputation was in the mud, and mine was in the sky again. A man can keep his trademark current in such a country, but he can't sit around and do it. He has got to be on deck and attending to business right along. One day not long after this, I told the king I was going out disguised as a petty freeman to scour the country and familiarize myself with the humbler life of the people. He was all afire with the novelty of the thing in a minute, and was bound to take a chance in the adventure himself. Oh, it was the prettiest idea he'd run across for many a day. He wanted to glide out the back way and start at once, but I showed him that wouldn't answer. That night, I took the king to my private quarters to cut his hair and help him get the hang of the lowly raiment he was to wear. I also trimmed his whiskers and mustache until they were only about half an inch long, and tried to do it inartistically, and succeeded. We slipped away an hour before dawn, and by broad sunup had made 8 or 10 miles, and were in the midst of a sparsely settled country. About mid-afternoon, we arrived at a hut. Here was a good chance to observe humble life firsthand. The field nearby had been denuded of its crop some time before and had a skinned look. Fences, sheds, everything had a ruined look and were eloquent of poverty. The door stood a trifle ajar. The king knocked. We waited. He knocked again. I pushed the door softly open and looked in.
Have mercy. All is taken. Nothing is left.
I've not come to take anything, poor woman.
You are not a priest.
No.
Nor come from the lord of the manor.
No, I'm a stranger.
Then for the fear of God, fly from here.
Oh, let us help you. You're sick and in trouble.
Save yourself. This place is under the church's ban.
I don't care anything for the church's curse. Let us help.
Here, let me open the shutter and let in some light and air.
Smallpox. Out of the door on the instant, sire. The woman's dying of that disease that wasted the skirts of Camelot 2 years ago.
Of a truth I shall remain, and likewise help.
King, it must not be. You must go.
Peace, I will not go.
Fair sir, of your kindness, will you climb the ladder there and bring me news of what you find? Be not afraid to report, for times can come when even a mother's heart is past breaking, being already broke.
Abide and give the woman to eat. I will go up. Is it your husband?
Yes.
Is he asleep?
God be thanked for that one charity, yes. These 3 hours.
Well, we'll be careful not to wake him.
Ah, no, that ye will not. for he is dead.
Dead?
Yes. What triumph it is to know it. None can harm him. None insult him more. We were boy and girl together. We were man and wife these 25 years, and never separated till this day. Think how long that is, to love and suffer together. This morning was he out of his mind, and in his fancy we were boy and girl again, and wandering in the happy fields. But there was no parting, for in my fancy I went with him. He knew not, but I went with him, my hand in his, my young soft hand, not this withered claw.
Just then the king descended. I could see that he was bearing something in one arm. He came forward into the light. Upon his breast lay a slender girl of 15. She was but half conscious. She was dying of smallpox. Here was heroism at its last and loftiest possibility. The king was great now, sublimely great. He was dressed in commoner's garb, bearing death in his arms, that a peasant mother might look her last upon her child and be comforted.
Oh, my child, speak to me, speak.
Here, let me give her this drink.
No, she does not suffer. It is better so. It might bring her back to life, and what is left to live for? Her brothers are gone, her father is gone, her mother goeth, the church's curses upon her, and none may shelter or befriend her, even though she lay perishing in the road. I have not asked you if her sister be still alive, here overhead.
She lieth at peace.
I would not change it. Oh, my Annis, thou shalt join thy sister soon. Oh.
She fell to murmuring and cooing over the girl, softly stroking her face and hair and kissing her and calling her by endearing names, but there was scarcely sign of response now in those glazing eyes. I saw tears well from the king's eyes and trickle down his face. The woman noticed them, too.
Oh, I know that sigh. Thou hast a wife at home, poor soul, and you and she have gone hungry to bed many's the time that the little ones might have your crust. You know what poverty is, and the daily insults of your betters, and the heavy hand of the church and the king.
What has happened here, poor woman?
Oh, well, years ago the lord of the manor planted certain fruit trees on our farm. In the best part of it, too. A grievous wrong and shame.
But it was his right.
Oh, none denieth that. Some little time ago, 3 of those trees were found hewn down. Our 3 grown sons ran frightened to report the crime. Well, in his lordship's dungeon there they lie, who saith, there shall they lie and rot till they confess. Then, when my lord's crop was nearly ready for the harvest, so also was ours. When his bell rang to call us to his fields to harvest his crops for nothing, he would not allow that I and my 2 girls should count for our 3 captive sons, but only 2 of them. So for the lacking 1 were we daily fined. All this time our own crop was perishing through neglect, and so both the priest and his lordship fined us because their shares of it were suffering through damage. In the end, the fines ate up our crop, and they took it all. They took it all, and made us harvest it for them without pay or food, and we starving. Then, being out of me mind with hunger and loss of me boys, I uttered a deep blasphemy against the church and the church's ways, which brought the church's ban upon my head and upon all those dear to me. Oh, my darling.
She gave a sharp, quick glance at her eldest daughter, then gathered the stiffening form to her arms. She had recognized the death rattle. At midnight, all was over, and we sat in the presence of 4 corpses. We covered them with such rags as we could find and started away, fastening the door behind us.
Listen, someone comes.
Quick, over here. And now we're safe. If the night had been lighter, he might have seen us.
Maybe it is but a beast, and not a man at all.
True, but it'll be wise to stay here a minute and let it get by and out of the way.
Hark, it cometh hither.
Mother? Father? Open, we've got free. Quick, we may not tarry, but must fly. They answer not. Mother! Father!
Come, now we can get to the road. Come, my liege. In a moment they'll strike a light, and then we'll follow that which it would break your heart to hear. We hurried off into the darkness. As we struck the summit of a small hill nearby, a red glow caught our eyes a good way off. We started down the hill in its direction, and the winding road plunged us at once into almost solid darkness. We groped along for half a mile, trying to make out the meaning of a murmur that rose and fell fitfully on the night, and mixed with the dull grumblings of distant thunder. I was in the lead. I ran against something, a soft, heavy something which gave slightly to the impulse of my weight. At the same moment, the lightning flared out, and within a foot of my face was the writhing face of a man who was hanging from the limb of a tree. Cut him down!
If he hanged himself, he was willing to lose his property to his lord, so let him be. If others hanged him, belike they had the right. Let him hang.
Look, there are 2 others hanging.
It is not weather meet for doing useless courtesies unto dead folk. They are past thanking you. Come, it is unprofitable to tarry here.
Within the next mile, we counted 6 more hanging forms by the blaze of the lightning. A man came flying by now, dimly through the darkness, and other men raging after them in pursuit. We stepped back a little and hid in the edge of the wood. From this hiding place, we saw both men and women hunted by the mob. The fearful work went on until nearly dawn. Oh, we were worn out and sleepy, but we kept on until we'd put this place some miles behind us. Then we stopped at the hut of a charcoal burner, who offered what hospitality he could. We slept till far into the afternoon, and then got up hungry enough to make the onions and black bread almost palatable to the king.
'Twas a wild night hereabouts, was it not? What happened?
Oh, at 10 or 11 last night, the manor house burst into flames. The family was saved, but the master was found dead in a copse 300 yards away, bound, gagged, and stabbed in a dozen places.
And who had done it?
Oh, the suspicion fell upon a humble family in the neighborhood who'd been lately treated with harshness by the Baron. My husband was with the mob. Let him tell you what happened.
Aye, it was a dark night, it was. 18 persons hanged or butchered, and 2 yeomen and 13 prisoners lost in the fire. Yeah.
And how many prisoners were there altogether in the vaults?
13.
Then every one of them was lost.
Yes, all.
But the people arrived in time to save the family. How is it they could save none of the prisoners?
Would one unlock the vaults at such a time? Marry, some would have escaped.
Then you mean that nobody did unlock them?
None went near them, either to lock or unlock. It was only needful to establish a watch, so that if any broke the bonds, he might not escape but be taken.
Well, I knew the king and I were in peril, for these people would fall upon us at the drop of a hat if they thought we weren't poor peasants, as we pretended to be. Well, the next night at dinner, when a few of the other mechanics and guildsmen were gathered at Marco's, I grew mighty nervous. I told the king to keep mum about our business, which was supposed to be farming. But I detected something in the king's eye which seemed to indicate that he'd been loading himself up for a performance of some kind or another. And I'll be switched if he didn't begin straight off to lead up to the subject of agriculture. And I broke out in a cold sweat.
Well, it were not the best way, methinks, albeit it is not to be denied that authorities differ as concerning this point. Some contending that the onion is but an unwholesome berry when stricken early from the tree, while as others do yet maintain with much show of reason that this is not of necessity the case, saying that plums and other like cereals do always be dug up in the unripe state. Yet they are clearly wholesome, the more especially when one doth combine them with the tranquilizing juice of the wayward cabbage.
These be errors, every one.
God hath surely smitten the mind of this far.
Now, in the case of animals, the young, which may be called the green fruit of the creature, is the better, all confessing that when a goat is ripe, his fur doth heat and sore inflame his flesh. The which defect taken in connection with his godless attitudes of mind and a bilious quality of morals.
They be not far!
They are mad!
Kill them! Strike him now!
They immediately fell upon us, but the king was hungry for a fight. He hit the blacksmith a crack under the jaw, lifted him clear off his feet and stretched him flat on his back.
St. George for Britain!
And he downed the wheelwright. The mason was big, but I laid him out like nothing. The others scattered, and the king and I took to our heels. We made good time across some open ground and darted into the shelter of the wood. I glanced back and saw a mob of excited peasants swarm into view with Marco and his wife at their head. Then we heard another sound. Dogs. Well, that was quite another matter. We made for running water. We struck a stream and darted into it. We waded swiftly down it for as much as 300 yards, and then came across an oak with a great bough sticking out over the water. We climbed out and worked our way along it to the body of the tree. I suggested we crawl along a branch and get into the next tree, which we did. Then we sat and waited.
Hello! This way! At the Mel's Road!
Watch on both sides of the street.
They won't have gone far in this water. Come on!
Hello!
I was afraid that the overhanging branch would suggest something to him. But I don't mind the disappointment.
Come, my liege.
We flanked them.
And listen, they search still. I with the sign. We do best to abide.
You're right.
Here they come again. They reason that being on foot, we are yet no mighty way from where we took to the water.
Hold the dogs!
They were so minded, they could get to yon tree by this branch that overhangs and yet not touch ground.
That's right. Ye will do well to send a man up it. Marry, that will we do. Yeah. Up the tree. Here.
I was admiring my cuteness in foreseeing this very thing and swapping trees to beat it. But don't you know there are some things that can beat smartness and foresight? Awkwardness and stupidity can. How could I, with all my gifts, make any valuable preparation against a nearsighted, cross-eyed, pudding-headed clown who would aim himself at the wrong tree and hit the right one? Oh, our game was up at last. Suddenly, some horsemen tore into the midst of the crowd, and a voice shouted,
Hold, for ye are dead men! What are you doing to these people?
They be madmen, worshipful sir, that have come wandering we know not whence, and...
You know not whence. Ye pretend you know them not?
Most honoured sir, we speak but the truth. They are strangers and unknown to any in this region.
and they be most violent and bloodthirsty madmen that ever...
Peace! Ye know not what ye say. They are not mad. Who are ye? And whence are ye? Explain.
We are but peaceful strangers, sir, and traveling upon our own concerns. We are from a far country and unacquainted here. We have purposed no harm, and yet, but for your brave interference and protection, these people would have killed us. As you have divined, sir, we are not mad. Neither are we violent or bloodthirsty.
Lash me these animals to their kennels. Bring the horses and mount these two people.
Yes, my lord.
My lord, the Earl Grip, hath given commandment that ye ride with us for 20 mile to a fair town that hight Cambernet, when so you shall be out of peril.
Thank you, sir, and to your lord for this brave service. We traveled pretty fast and finally drew rein sometime after dark at a roadside inn some 10 or 12 miles from the scene of our troubles. We learned that Lord Grip was a very great personage in his own region, which lay a day's journey beyond Campinet. About the middle of the forenoon, we entered the market square of the town. We dismounted and left our thanks once more for my lord, and then approached a crowd assembled in the center of the square. It was the remnant of that old band of slaves that had been dragging their chains about all this weary time since Sandy and I had met them on our quest to free the princesses. As we stood looking at these wasted wrecks of humanity, the king and I were handcuffed together. Our companions, those servants, had done it, and my lord Grip stood looking on.
What meaneth this ill-mannered jest?
Put up the slaves and sell them.
Slaves? We are free men.
If indeed ye are free men, ye have not to fear. The God-given liberties of Britain are about ye for your shield and shelter. Ye shall soon see. Bring forth your proofs.
What proofs?
Proofs that ye are free men.
Thou art insane, man. It were better and more in reason that this thief and scoundrel here prove that we are not free men.
If ye do not know your country's laws, it were time ye learned them. Ye are strangers to us. Ye will not deny that.
No, we are indeed strangers.
Ye may be free men. We do not deny that. But also ye may be slaves. The law is clear. It does not require the claimants to prove ye are slaves. It requireth you to prove ye are not.
Dear sir, give us only time to send to the Valley of Holiness, or to Camelot.
Peace, good man. These are extraordinary requests, and you may not hope to have them granted. It would cost much time and would inconvenience your master.
Master? Idiot! I have no master. I myself am the...
Silence, for God's sake. We're in enough trouble without giving these people the notion that we're lunatics. There's no use in stringing out the details. The Earl put us up and sold us at auction. This same infernal law had existed in our own South in my own time, more than 1,300 years later. And under it, hundreds of free men who could not prove that they were free men had been sold into lifelong slavery without the circumstance making any particular impression upon me. But the minute that law and the auction block came into my personal experience, a thing which had been merely improper before became suddenly hellish. Yes, we were sold at auction, like swine. The King of England brought $7, and his Prime Minister, $9. The King was easily worth $12, and I as easily worth $15. But that's the way things always go. If you force a sale on a dull market, I don't care what the property is, you're going to make a poor business of it. The king brooded. Was it about his fall from the loftiest place in the world to the lowest, to that of a slave? No, the thing that gravelled him most was the price he'd fetched. He couldn't seem to get over that $7. I had to throw conscience aside and brazenly concede that he ought to have brought $25. I was quite well aware that in all the ages, the world had never seen a king that was worth half the money. We had a rough time for a month, tramping to and fro in the earth and suffering. At last we came to London, and it appeared that a gentleman was about to buy me from a slave dealer.
No, I will not pay it. $20 is an extravagant price.
And what about this slave here? He has a grand physique.
Yes, but his style is grand, too. No, he won't do.
Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm tired of supporting these two for no good. Give me $22 for this one, and I'll throw the other one in.
If you will keep the offer open...
'Tis open only till the morrow at this hour.
Well, then I will answer you at that time.
Only till the morrow.
I will not be thrown in. The fool.
Your grace will go for nothing, but after another fashion. And so shall I. Tonight we shall both be free.
How is that?
Will your lordship abolish slavery once we are free?
Indeed. It is the most hateful institution in England.
Well, with this little metal I have hidden, I'll unlock these locks and cast off these chains tonight. When the slave dealer comes about 9:30 to inspect us for the night, we'll seize him, gag him, batter him. And early in the morning we'll march out of this town, proprietors of this caravan of slaves.
Yes, splendid.
That night, when all of the others finally got down to their regular snoring, I picked the locks with a small metal pin and was a free man once more. I took a good breath of relief and was just reaching for the king's irons when in comes the master with a light in one hand and his heavy walking staff in the other.
All quiet? Good. Sleep on, you dogs.
Quick, fetch him back.
I was up and out in a moment. But there were no lamps in those days, and it was a dark night. But I glimpsed a dim figure a few steps away. I darted for it and threw myself upon it. We fought and scuffled and struggled and drew a crowd in no time. Then a tremendous row broke out behind us, and as much as half of our audience left us with a rush to invest some sympathy in that. Before long, I was in custody, and so was my adversary. As we were marched off toward prison, he turned his face around in my direction. The light from the watchman's tin lantern fell on it, and by George, he was the wrong man. It was a long night, but the morning got round at last. I was brought with my antagonist to the court.
Now, make a full and frank explanation to this court.
Certainly, your lordship. I am a slave, the property of the great Earl Grip, who arrived last night just after dark at the Tabard Inn. He, being taken deadly sick with a strange and sudden disorder, sent me in all haste to bring the best physician. Running with all my might, the night being dark, I ran against this common person here, who seized me by the throat and began to pummel me.
It's a lie! The slave rushed upon me and attacked me without so much as a word.
Silence! Take him hence and give him a few stripes, whereby to teach him how to treat the servant of a nobleman. And please give our good wishes to his lordship, the Earl, and beg him to forgive the delay that has been caused you.
I'll make it all right. Good day, my lord. I didn't wait for breakfast. When I arrived at the slave quarters, it was empty. Everybody gone. My good man, what's happened here? The place is empty.
Well, not quite empty, friend. There's one body there.
Oh, so there is. What happened?
There were 16 slaves here. They rose against their master in the night. Thou seest how it ended.
So, that's the slave's master, is it? How did it begin?
There was no witness but the slaves. They said the slave that was most valuable got free of his bonds and escaped in some strange way. By magic arts, 'twas thought. And when the master discovered his loss, he was mad with despair and threw himself upon his people with his heavy stick. But they resisted and brake his back, and did give him hurts that brought him swiftly to his end. Yes.
This is dreadful. This is dreadful. It will go hard with the slaves, no doubt, upon the trial.
Marry, the trial is over.
Over?
Well, would they be weak, think you? And the matter so simple?
Why, I don't see how they could determine which were the guilty ones in so short a time.
Which ones? Indeed, they considered not particulars like to that. They condemned them in a body. Which is not the law, which men say the Romans left behind them here when they went. that if one slave killeth his master, all the slaves of that man must die for it.
I had forgotten. And when will these die?
Belike within a 24 hours, albeit some say they will wait a pair of days more if peradventure they find the missing one meantime.
The missing one? Is it likely they will find him?
Before the day is spent, yes. They seek him everywhere.
He showed me where the prisoners were kept. Then I left in search of a second-hand clothing shop. I got a rough rig suitable for a common seaman who might be going on a cold voyage. In this disguise, I struck out for a telephone wire I had seen strung atop some buildings. I found a little den over a butcher's shop, which meant that business wasn't very brisk in the telephone line in London. The young chap in charge was drowsing at his table. I locked the door and put the vast key in my pocket. This alarmed the young fella, and he was going to make a noise.
What is this?
Save your wind. If you open your mouth, you're dead. Now, tackle your instrument. Lively now. Call Camelot.
This doth amaze me. How should such as you know aught of such matters?
Look, call Camelot. I'm a desperate man. Call or get away from the instrument, and I'll do it myself.
What, you?
Yes, certainly. Now, call the palace and ask for Clarence.
Clarence who?
Never mind Clarence who. Say you want Clarence. You'll get an answer.
Camelot, may I help you?
Let me speak to, Clarence.
This is Clarence.
No, my lad. Vacate. Give that instrument to me. Clarence, my lad.
Yes, sir.
Listen carefully.
Right.
The king is here and in danger.
Danger?
We were captured and brought here as slaves. We weren't able to prove our identity. So you send 500 picked knights with Lancelot in the lead.
Right.
And send them on the jump.
Right.
Let them enter by the southwest gate and look out for the man with a white cloth around his right arm.
They shall start in half an hour.
Good. As I hurried away, I fell to ciphering. I figured the knights and horses in heavy armor couldn't travel very fast. And with the change of horses a couple of times, they'd arrive about 6 or a little after. They would see the white cloth which I should tie around my right arm, and I would take command. We would surround the prison and have the king out in no time. I stepped into the street, gleeful at the plan that I had arranged. I turned the corner and walked straight into some watchmen snooping around with one of the slaves.
There! That's him, all right. He's the runaway.
Let me go. No, he's crazy.
He's the one, sure.
Oh, come along now, none of that.
How could you betray me, you idiot?
What? Wouldst thou have me allow thee, of all men, to escape and not hang with us, when thou'rt the very cause of our hanging?
Now, you're not going to be hanged, and none of us are.
Ye have not ranked as a fool before.
Before tomorrow, we shall be out of prison and free to go where we will besides.
Out of prison. Yes, you say true. And free likewise to go where you will, so you wander not out of his grace, the devil's sultry realm.
Now, I suppose you really think we're going to hang within a day or two, huh?
Well, I thought it not many minutes ago, for so the thing was decided and proclaimed.
Ah, then you've changed your mind, is that it?
Even that. I only thought then. I know now.
Oh, wise servant of the law, condescend to tell us then what you know.
That ye will all be hanged today at mid-afternoon. The missing slave has been found. There's no need to postpone the hanging.
It was a cool, comfortable, superb day with a brilliant sun. The kind of day to make one want to live, not die. The large multitude was gathered well before 4 in the afternoon. They got a brief and unexpected dash of diversion out of the king. We were huddled on the gallows, but the moment we were freed of our bonds, the king sprang up.
in his fantastic rags, with face bruised out of all recognition.
I am Arthur, King of Britain. If one hair of this head is touched, all here gathered shall be guilty of treason.
Let him... The king! The king!
First for words of wisdom.
The mouth of their master, his serene and sacred rag.
Doubtless, this sailor man is his minister. Observe the costly white badge of office wound around his arm.
Yes, I am his minister, the boss. And tomorrow, you'll hear that from Camelot... They drowned me out with joyous derision. But presently there was silence. There lay the smooth road below us, a good clear road. How good it would be to see my 500 horsemen come tearing down it. But no, it was out of the possibilities. When I turned my head back, I missed the king. They were blindfolding him. I was paralyzed. I couldn't move. I shot one more glance abroad, and by George, here they came. 500 mailed and belted knights on bicycles. Well, it was noble to see Launcelot and the boys swarm up onto that scaffold and heave sheriffs and such overboard. And presently, up comes Clarence, his own self, and winks and says, very modernly,
Good deal of a surprise, wasn't it? I knew you'd like it. I've had the boys practicing this long time, privately, and just hungry for a chance to show off.
A morning or two after we returned to Camelot, I found the paper, damp from the press, by my plate at the breakfast table. There, in the advertising columns, I found the following. By command of the king, know that the great lord and illustrious knight Sir Sagramore le Desirous, having condescended to meet the king's minister, known as the boss, for satisfaction of offense anciently given, these will engage in the lists on the 16th day of this next succeeding month. The battle will be to the death, since the said offense was of a deadly sort. I shuffled through the paper to find Clarence's editorial reference to the affair. This is what he had to say.
It will be observed by a glance at our advertising columns that the community is to be favored with a treat of unusual interest in the tournament line. The names of the artists will guarantee good entertainment. The box office will be open at noon of the 13th. Parties are hereby warned against buying tickets of speculators. They will not be good at the door. Everybody knows and likes the boss. Everybody knows and likes Sir Sag. Come, let us give the lads a good send-off. Remember, the proceeds go to the hospital fund. Turn out all hands. Pitch along your donuts and your gumdrops and have a good time. Pie for sale on the grounds and rocks to crack it with. Also, circus lemonade, 3 drops of lime juice to a barrel of water. P.S. This is the first tournament under the new law which allows each combatant to use any weapon he may prefer. You want to make a note of that?
Well, the ancient offense was a casual remark I had made watching a tournament, which Sir Sagramore thought was aimed at him. No, there was plenty of talk about this combat. All the nation knew that it was not to be a duel between mere men, but a duel between 2 mighty magicians, between Merlin and me. It was known that Merlin had been busy whole days and nights together, imbuing Sir Sagramore's arms and armor with supernal powers of offense and defense, and that Merlin had procured for him a fleecy veil which would render him invisible to me, though still visible to other men, and against which 1,000 knights could accomplish nothing. Vast as the showgrounds were, there were no vacant spaces in them by 10 o'clock in the morning of the 16th. At the appointed hour, after the king had made the sign and the heralds had read the proclamation, out from his tent rode great Sir Sagramor, an imposing tower of iron, stately and rigid, his huge spear standing upright in its socket and grasped in his strong hand. His grand horse's face and breast were cased in steel, his body clothed in rich trappings that almost dragged the ground. Oh, a most noble picture. Then out I came, but I didn't get any shout. I was in flesh-colored tights from neck to heel, with blue silk puffings about my loins and bare-headed. My horse was not above medium size, but he was alert, slender-limbed, muscled with watch springs, and just a greyhound to go. He was a beauty, glossy as silk, and naked as he was when he was born, except for bridle and saddle. We met and rode side by side to the grandstand and faced the king and queen.
Alexa, boss, we'll fight naked and without lance or sword.
It is not our affair. The boss knows something that we, perchance, do not.
Let the contest begin!
The bugles rang again, and we separated and rode to the ends of the lists and took position. Now old Merlin stepped into view and cast a dainty web of gossamer threads over Sir Sagramor, which turned him into Hamlet's ghost. The king made a sign, and Sir Sagramor came thundering down the course with his veil flying out behind. I went whistling through the air like an arrow to meet him, cocking my ear as if noting the invisible knight's position and progress by hearing, not sight. When Sir Sag's lance point was within 1.5 yards of my breast, I twitched my horse aside without an effort, and the big knight swept by, scoring a blank. This same thing was repeated once more, and it fetched such a whirlwind of applause that Sir Sagramor lost his temper and tried chasing me down. I whirled out of his path with ease, and then slapped him on the back as he went by. Well, he gave up that business and retired to the end of the lists to fling insults at me. I slipped my lasso from the horn of my saddle and grasped the coil in my right hand. This time you should have seen him come. It was a business trip, sure, and there was blood in his eye. I was sitting my horse at ease and swinging the great loop of my lasso in wide circles about my head. When the space between us had narrowed to 40 feet, I sent the snaky spirals of the rope through the air, then darted aside and faced about and brought my horse to a halt with all his feet braced under him for a surge. The next moment, the rope sprang taut and yanked Sir Sagramor out of the saddle. Oh, great Scott, but there was a sensation! Well, the whole knight-errantry hive was just humming. The moment my lasso was released and Sir Sagramor had been assisted to his tent, I hauled in the slack, took my station, and waited. I didn't wait long. Here came Sir Hervis de Revel like a house afire. I dodged. He passed like a flash with my horsehair coils settling around his neck. A second or so later, his saddle was empty. I got another encore and another and another and still another. When I had snaked 5 men out, things began to look serious to the ironclads. So, you see, there was simply nothing to be done but to bring out the mightiest of the mighty, the great Sir Launcelot himself. A proud moment for me? I should think so. In that moment, down came the Invincible with the rush of a whirlwind. The courtly world rose to its feet and bent forward. The fateful coils went circling through the air, and before you could wink, I was towing Sir Lancelot across the field on his back and kissing my hand to the storm of waving kerchiefs and the thunder crash of applause that greeted me. Well, I said to myself, no other will venture against me. Knight-errantry is dead. Now imagine my astonishment, and everybody else's too, to hear the bugle announce another competitor about to enter the lists. I couldn't account for this mystery, but then I noticed Merlin gliding away from me. And then I noticed that my lasso was gone. That old sleight-of-hand expert had stolen it, sure, and slipped it under his robe. Well, here was Sir Sagramore for another round. Again we met and rode forward to salute the royalty.
Thou art quick of ear, but it will not save thee from this. If we are not able to see it because of the magic of Merlin, know that it is no cumbrous lance, but a sword, and I know ye will not be able to avoid it.
Where is thy strange weapon?
It is stolen, sire.
Hast another at hand?
No, sire, I brought only the one.
He brought but the one, because there was but the one to bring. There exists none other but that one which belongeth to the king of the demons of the sea. This man is a pretender and ignorant, else he had known that the weapon can be used in but 8 bouts only, and then it vanisheth away to its home under the sea.
Then is he weaponless? Sir Sagramore, you will grant him leave to borrow?
And I will lend. He is as brave a knight of his hands as any that be on live, and he shall have mine.
Stay, it may not be. He shall fight with his own weapons. It was his privilege to choose them and bring them. If he has erred, on his head be it.
Knight, thou art overwrought with passion. It disorders thy mind. Wouldst thou kill a naked man?
If he do it, he shall answer it to me.
I will answer it to any that desire it.
'Tis well said, right well said, and 'tis enough of talking. Let my lord the king deliver the battle signal.
We turned apart and rode to our stations. It seemed as if the king could not take heart to give the signal, but at last he lifted his hand. Sir Sagramore's long blade flashed in the air, and it was superb to see him come. I sat still. On he came. I did not move. People got so excited that they shouted at me.
Save thyself!
I never budged so much as an inch, till that thundering apparition had got within 15 paces of me. Then I snatched a dragoon revolver out of my holster. There was a flash and a roar, and the revolver was back in the holster before anybody could tell what had happened. Here was a riderless horse plunging by, and yonder lay Sir Sagramore, stone dead. I waited. Nobody else challenged. If there are any who doubt that this field is well and fairly won, I do not wait for them to challenge me. I challenge them.
It is a gallant offer, and well beseems you. Whom will you name first?
I name none, I challenge all. Here I stand and dare the chivalry of England to come against me. Not by individuals, but in mass.
What is this?
You have heard the challenge. Take it, or I proclaim you recreant knights and vanquished, every one. In just no time, 500 knights were scrambling into their saddles, and before you could wink, a widely scattering drove was underway and clattering down upon me. I snatched both revolvers from the holsters and began to measure distances and calculate chances. One saddle empty. Another one. I bagged 2. It was nip and tuck with it, and I knew it. If I spent the 11th shot without convincing these people, the 12th man would kill me sure. And so I never did feel so happy as I did when my knife downed its man, and I detected a wavering in the crowd. They halted, stood their ground just about one good square moment, then broke and fled. The day was mine. Knight-errantry was a doomed institution. The march of civilization was begun. How did I feel? Oh, you never could imagine it. And old Merlin, his stock was flat again. sped along, and the nights gave me no trouble worth mentioning. I had exposed my hidden schools, my mines, my vast system of clandestine factories and workshops to an astonished world. Slavery was dead and gone. All men were equal before the law. Taxation had been equalized. The telegraph, the telephone, the phonograph, the typewriter, the sewing machine, and all the 1,000 willing and handy servants of steam and electricity were working their way into favor. I was very happy. I had married Sandy for no particular reason, except that by the customs of chivalry, she was my property until some knight should win her from me in the field. No, I didn't know I was drawing a prize, yet that's what I did draw. Within a 12-month, I became her worshiper. In my dreams at first, I still wandered 13 centuries away. Sometimes in my sleep, I would cry out for that telephone operator in West Hartford. Many a time, Sandy heard strange sounds from my lips in my sleep. When our baby was born, she saddled that cry of mine upon our child. Oh, it touched me to tears, and it nearly knocked me off my feet, too.
It is a daughter, my lord.
With good lungs, too.
The name of one who was once dear to thee is here preserved, here made holy, and the music of it will abide alway in our ears. Now thou shalt kiss me, as knowing the name I have given the child.
Well, I want to hear these lips of yours utter the name. Then its music will be perfect.
Hello, Central.
Why, it's a perfect name. And music indeed. I didn't laugh. I'm always thankful for that. But the strain ruptured every cartilage in me, and for weeks afterward I could hear my bones clack when I walked. The first time she heard it on our telephones, I told her I had given order for it, in honor of my lost friend and in remembrance of our child. It wasn't true, but it answered. One day, about a year after our child was born, I was talking with Clarence about forming a republic.
But, boss, why not shuck the privileged orders, but keep the hereditary royal family? No nation that has ever known the joy of worshipping a royal family could ever be robbed of it and not fade away and die of melancholy.
But kings are too dangerous.
Then have cats.
Cats?
A royal family of cats would answer every purpose. They'd be as useful as any other royal family. They'd know as much. They would be as vain and absurd and never know it.
No, they would be inexpensive. They would have as sound a divine right as any other royal house. And Tom the 7th, or Tom the 11th, or Tom the 14th would sound as well as it would when applied to the ordinary royal tomcat with tights on.
As a rule, the character of these cats would be considerably above the character of the average king.
It's true.
And this would be an immense moral advantage to the nation, for the reason that a nation always models its morals after its monarchs. These graceful and harmless cats would easily become as sacred as any other royalties, and indeed more so, because it would presently be noticed that they hanged nobody, beheaded nobody, imprisoned nobody, inflicted no cruelties or injustices of any sort. The eyes of the whole harried world would soon be fixed upon this humane and gentle system, and royal butchers would presently begin to disappear. Their subjects would fill the vacancies with catlings from our own royal house. We should become a factory. We should supply the thrones of the world. Within 40 years, all Europe would be governed by cats, and we should furnish the cats. The reign of universal peace would begin then, to end no more forever.
Hang you, Clarence. Can't you be in earnest? You have discovered a perfectly rational improvement upon constitutional monarchy, but you're too feather-headed to know it. I want... Oh, Sandy, what is it, darling?
Hello, Central.
Quick, Clarence, telephone the king's doctor to come. In 2 minutes, I was kneeling by the child's crib, and Sandy was dispatching servants here, there, and everywhere, all over the palace. It was membranous croup. Well, the child was far from dead, so I rousted out the croup kettle myself. for I don't sit down and wait for doctors when Sandy or the child is sick. The doctor said we must take the child away to coax her back to health and strength again. So we took a boat to the French coast. For 2.5 weeks we watched by the crib, unconscious of any world outside of that sick room. Then our reward came. The center of the universe turned the corner and began to mend. Grateful? Oh, it isn't the term. There isn't any term for it. You know that yourself. If you've watched your child through the valley of the shadow and seen it come back to life and sweep night out of the earth with one all-illuminating smile that you could cover with your hand. Why, we were back in the world in an instant. I had sent a ship back to England for supplies 2 weeks before, and I learned that it had not returned yet. Everyone in our company looked troubled, and when we rowed 5 miles to the hilltop overlooking the sea, not a sail was in sight. Just a dead and empty solitude, in place of the brisk and breezy life of a few weeks before. Had there been an invasion, an earthquake, a pestilence? The next day, I took a small boat to England. There were ships in the harbor at Dover, but they were naked as to sails, and there was no sign of life about them. It was Sunday, yet at Canterbury the streets were empty. The mournfulness of death was everywhere. Then I saw a small funeral procession, just a family and a few friends following a coffin, no priest. They passed by the church, weeping, but did not enter it. I glanced up at the belfry, and there hung the bell, shrouded in black, and its tongue tied back. Now I knew. Now I understood the stupendous calamity that had overtaken England. Invasion. Invasion is a triviality to it. It was the interdict. So the church was going to keep the upper hand now and snuff out all my beautiful civilization just like that. I got into disguise and made my way to Camelot to find out what I could. I arrived far in the night. I found Clarence, alone in his quarters, drowned in melancholy. And in place of the electric light, he had reinstituted the ancient rag lamp and sat there in a grisly twilight with all curtains drawn tight.
Oh, boss, it's worth $1 billion milrays to look upon a live person again.
How did it come about?
Well, if there hadn't been any Queen Guinevere, it wouldn't have come so early. But it would have come anyway by and by. By luck, it happened to come on the Queen's account.
And Sir Lancelot's?
Just so.
Mm-hmm.
I reckon you'll grant that during some years there's been only one pair of eyes in these kingdoms that has not been looking steadily askance at the Queen and Sir Lancelot.
Yes, King Arthur's.
And only one heart that was without suspicion.
Yes, the King's. A heart that isn't capable of thinking evil of a friend.
Well, 2 of the King's nephews, Sir Agravain and Sir Mordred, took a drubbing at the stock market, thanks to the shrewdness of Sir Lancelot. When the court had gone to Carlisle Castle for a few days' hunting, Mordred and Agravain proposed to call the guileless Arthur's attention to Guinevere and Sir Lancelot. Sir Gawain, Sir Gareth, and Sir Gaheris would have nothing to do with it. While they were arguing, the king enters. Mordred and Agravain spring their devastating tale upon him. Next, a trap is laid for Sir Lancelot by the king's command, and Sir Lancelot walks into it. He made it sufficiently uncomfortable for the ambushed witnesses, to wit, Mordred, Agravain, and 12 knights of lesser rank, for he killed every one of them but Mordred. But of course that couldn't straighten matters between Lancelot and the king, and didn't.
And only one thing could result, I see that. War, and the knights of the realm divided into a king's party and a Sir Lancelot's party.
Yes, that was the way of it. The king sent the queen to the stake, proposing to purify her with fire. Lancelot and his knights rescued her, and in doing it, slew certain good old friends of yours and mine, in fact, some of the best we ever had, to wit, Sir Bellius de Orgulus, Sir Segwarides, Sir Griflet le Fields de Jure, Sir Brandillies, and Sir Gaheris, and Sir Gareth both.
Incredible. The love of these last two was indestructible.
Well, it was an accident. They were simply onlookers. They were unarmed and were merely there to witness the Queen's punishment. Sir Lancelot smote down whoever came in the way of his blind fury, and he killed these without noticing who they were.
Oh.
Here is an instantaneous photograph one of our boys got of the battle. It's for sale on every newsstand. There, see? The figures nearest the Queen are Sir Lancelot with his sword up, and Sir Gareth gasping his latest breath. You can catch the agony in the Queen's face through the curling smoke. It's a rattling battle picture.
Indeed it is. We must take good care of it. Its historical value is incalculable. Oh, go on.
Well, the rest of the tale is just war, pure and simple. When Arthur went to battle, he left the kingdom in Sir Mordred's hands, who set himself at once to work to make his kingship permanent. So, the Bishop of Canterbury dropped down on him with the interdict.
Well, is the king all right?
Poor soul, no, he's dead.
Dead? And the Queen, Clarence?
She's a nun in Almesbury.
What changes? What next, I wonder?
I can tell you what next. The church is master now. The interdict included you with Mordred. The church has gathered all the knights that are left alive, and...
With our deadly scientific war material, with our vast host of trained...
Oh, save your breath. We haven't 60 faithful left.
What? Our schools, our colleges, our workshops, our factories...
Did you think you had educated the superstition out of those people?
I certainly did think it.
Well, then you may unthink it. When the armies come, the mask will fall.
We're lost.
No, not yet. From our various works, I selected all the men, boys I mean, whose faithfulness under whatsoever pressure I could swear to, and I called them together secretly and gave them their instructions. There are 52 of them, none younger than 14 and none above 17 years old.
Why did you select boys?
Because all the others were born in an atmosphere of superstition and reared in it.
Mm-hmm.
These boys have been under our training from 7 to 10 years and have had no acquaintance with the church's terrors. We've provisioned Merlin's cave for a siege.
The big one, where we established our first great electric plant. A good idea. A first-rate idea.
I think so. Then we built a wire fence.
Wire fence?
Yes. There are 12 fences, actually, 10 feet apart and connected to the big dynamo in the cave. 12 circles within circles, so to speak.
Good. Go on. The Gatlings?
Well, in the centre of the inner circle, on a spacious platform 6 feet high, I've grouped a battery of 13 Gatling guns and provided plenty of ammunition.
That's it. When the church's knights arrived, there's going to be music. Well, and the glass cylinder dynamite torpedoes?
That's attended to. It's the prettiest garden that was ever planted. We buried the dynamite in a belt 40 feet wide that goes around the outer fence. Distance between it and the fence 100 yards. Kind of neutral ground.
Mm-hmm.
We sprinkled a layer of sand over the torpedoes. It's an innocent-looking garden, but you let a man start in to hoe it once, and you'll see.
You tested the torpedoes?
Well, I was going to, but you
Why,
see,
it's an immense oversight not to test your equipment.
Oh, they're all right. I laid a few in the public road beyond our lines, and they've been tested.
Oh, and who did it?
A church committee. They came to command us to surrender. You see, they didn't really come to test the torpedoes. That was merely an incident.
Did the committee make a report?
Yes, they made one. You could have heard it a mile.
Unanimous?
That was the nature of it. We haven't had intruders since.
Clarence, you've done a world of work and done it perfectly. Well, I know what to do now.
So do I. Sit down and wait.
No, sir. Rise up and strike.
Do you mean it? When do we begin?
Now. We'll proclaim the Republic.
Well, that will precipitate things, sure enough.
It'll make 'em buzz, I tell you. England will be a hornet's nest before noon tomorrow. Now, you write, and I'll dictate.
Fire away.
Be it known unto all. Whereas, the king having died and left no heir, it becomes my duty to continue the executive authority vested in me until a government shall have been created and set in motion.
Right.
The monarchy no longer exists.
Good.
By consequence, all political power has reverted to its original source, the people of the nation.
Mm-hmm.
It is the duty of the British people to meet together immediately and by their votes elect representatives and deliver into their hands the government.
Right.
All men are become exactly equal.
Oh, that's great.
They are upon one common level, and religion is free.
Wonderful.
Sign it, The Boss, and date it from Merlin's cave.
Why, that tells where we are and invites them to call right away.
That's the idea. We strike by the proclamation, then it's their innings. Now, have the thing set up and printed and posted right off. Then, if you've got a couple of bicycles handy, let's ho for Merlin's cave.
Good. They're approaching the sandbelt, boss.
Yes, there must be acres and acres of horsemen.
Here they come. They're starting to gallop.
Down swept that vast horseshoe wave. The strip of green turf beyond the yellow belt grew narrow, narrower still, became a mere ribbon in front of the horses, then disappeared under their hooves. Great Scott! Why, the whole front of that host shot into the sky with a thunder crash and became a whirling tempest of rags and fragments. A thick wall of smoke hid what was left of the multitude from our sight. When the smoke cleared, no living creature was to be seen. But a new addition had been made to our defenses. The dynamite had dug a ditch more than 100 feet wide all around us and cast up an embankment some 25 high on both borders of it. I immediately sent an engineer and 40 of the young men to a point just beyond our lines on the south to turn a mountain brook that was there and bring it within our lines and under our command, fixing a sort of dam so that we could make instant use of the water in an emergency. Clarence, wake up. Come on.
What? Who? Oh, it's you, boss.
Yes. Clarence, the ditch is filling with knights, and I believe they'll be coming for us in a body. Then the rest of the army will follow.
Oh, they'll be wanting to send a scout or two in the dark to make observations. Why not take the lightning off the outer fences? Give them a chance.
I've already done it, Clarence. Did you ever know me to be inhospitable?
No, you are a good heart. I want to go
and be a reception committee, I'll go, too. I turned the current onto the second fence. Then we crept out and lay down together between the two inside fences and waited.
What's that?
What is what?
That thing yonder there. Beyond you a little piece. A dark something. A dull shape of some kind against the second fence.
Could it be a man, Clarence?
No, I think not. If you notice, it looks a little... Why, it is a man, leaning on a fence.
I certainly believe it is. Let's go and see.
Right.
We crept along on our hands and knees until we were pretty close, and then looked up. Yes, it was a man. A dim, great figure in armor, standing erect, with both hands on the upper wire. And of course there was a smell of burning flesh. Poor fella, dead as a doornail.
Shh! Here comes another one.
Why dreamest thou here, good sir?
He laid his hand on the corpse's shoulder and just uttered a little soft moan and sank down dead. Killed by a dead man, you see. Killed by a dead friend, in fact. There was something awful about it. Well, I believed that the whole army was in our trap, so I sent the current through the other fences. Then I touched a button and set 50 electric suns aflame on the top of our cave. Land, what a sight! Most of the knights were crossing one of the fences, and the current struck the whole host dead in their tracks. There was a groan you could hear. The rest of the army, perhaps 10,000 strong, were crossing the great ditch and pressing forward to the assault. I fired the 3 appointed revolver shots, which meant, turn on the water. There was a sudden rush and roar, and in a minute, the mountain brook was raging through the big ditch and creating a river 100 feet wide and 25 deep. Stand to your guns, men! Open fire! The 13 Gatlings began to vomit death into the fated 10,000. A full fourth part of their force never reached the top of the embankment. The 3/4 that reached it plunged over to death by drowning. Within 10 short minutes, the campaign was ended. We 54 were masters of England. 25,000 men lay dead around us. But how treacherous is fortune. In a little while, say an hour, happened a thing by my own fault, which, oh, but I have no heart to write that. Let the record end here.
A postscript by Clarence. I, Clarence, must write the end for him. When we went out to help the wounded, for the boss insisted we go, the first wounded man who appealed for help was sitting with his back against a dead comrade. When the boss bent over him and spoke to him, the man recognized him and stabbed him. That night was Sir Meliagrance, as I found out by tearing off his helmet. He will not ask for help any more. We carried the boss to the cave and gave his wound, which was not very serious, the best care we could. An old woman, a peasant, who said she was starving, helped care for him. About midnight, the second night, I awoke and saw the old woman making curious passes in the air about the boss's head and face. Stop! What have you been doing?
Ye shall all die in this place, everyone except him. He sleepeth now, and shall sleep 13 centuries. I am Merlin.
Such a delirium of silly laughter overtook Merlin as he ran that he reeled about like a drunken man and presently fetched up against one of our wires. His mouth is spread open yet. Apparently he is still laughing. I suppose the face will retain that petrified laugh until the corpse turns to dust. The boss has never stirred, sleeps like a stone. If he does not wake today, we shall understand what kind of a sleep it is, and his body will then be borne to a place in one of the remote recesses of the cave where none will ever find it to desecrate it.
The dawn was come when I laid the manuscript aside. I went to the stranger's room and listened at the door, which was slightly ajar. I could hear his voice, so I went in. He lay in bed, thrashing about restlessly, as sick people do in delirium.
Oh, Sandy, you've come at last. Oh, I have longed for you. Sit by me. Was that the child? Hello, Central? Bring her to me. Let me touch her hands. Oh, such dreams. I thought the king was dead. I thought you were in France and couldn't get home. Oh, but that was not the strangest, Sandy. I seemed to be a creature out of a remote, unborn age, centuries hence. Oh, it was awful. Awfuler than you can ever imagine, Sandy. Oh, watch by me, Sandy. Sandy?
He lay muttering incoherently some little time. Then, for a time, he lay silent, apparently sinking away toward death.
A bugle. It's the king. The drawbridge there. Man, the battlements. Turn out the...
He was getting up his last effect. But he never finished it.